Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer breaking down issue 50 of the WP More newsletter. We have got a lot of ground to cover today, and honestly, if you work in the WordPress space, you absolutely need to hear this. We're talking about shifting market shares, a massive victory for AI security, and some pretty wild vulnerabilities you can't afford to ignore.
But before we map out the big picture of where WordPress is heading, we need to address a frankly shocking reality that Census security researchers just uncovered. Get this. 70% of publicly visible WordPress sites are running on a dead, outdated PHP engine. We are talking about millions of sites running on PHP 7.4 or older. A version that completely stopped getting security patches way back in November 2022. It is a massive, ticking time bomb, sitting right out in the open.
So consider today's explainer a bit of a state of the union. We'll be quickly moving through the market share reality, fake stats and dead PHP, safe training with Playground, how AI actually stopped a live backdoor, and finally, how to stay updated with WP More. Section 1, the market share reality. To really figure out where we're going, we kind of need to know where we've been, right? Well, WordPress peaked in 2025, holding an absolutely massive 43.6% of all websites. For years, the story we all heard was just about endless, unstoppable growth. But the reality of the web has shifted. And not peak, it's pretty much in the rearview mirror now. By July of 2026, data from W3 Techs already showed a drop down to 41.5%. And if we look closely at a really realistic projection by Nikolai Grof-Russell, we're tracking a steady 1.1 to 1.4 percentage point annual decline, eventually hitting 37% by 2029. Now, I want to be clear here. This isn't a crash, but it is for sure a definitive sustained downward trend, which naturally forces us to ask, where exactly are these users going? And more importantly, who is WordPress actually losing? That is the crucial point, understanding exactly who is leaving. This lost segment we're looking at represents low-value commodity installs. Think simple restaurant menus, freelance portfolios, basic landing pages. Those first-time site builders are moving over to AI-first platforms like Wix and Squarespace because they offer that instant gratification. But on the flip side, WordPress holds an incredibly defensible segment for complex, managed, and content-heavy sites. If you're running a WooCommerce store, an agency, a huge publishing house, or if you just absolutely demand true data ownership and plugin depth, WordPress is still the undisputed king. The market isn't dying, it's just refining.
Section 2, fake stats and dead PHP. So that shrinking market share relies heavily on metrics to tell the story, right? But some of the most trusted numbers in our ecosystem are completely unauditable, and it creates a really dangerous blind spot. Here's a startling fact for you. Security researcher Marcin Dudek discovered that anyone, and I mean anyone, can inflate a competitor's active install count on the WordPress.org plugin directory. How? Well, the count comes from unauthenticated update check requests. So anyone can just send a simple post request and report a plugin slug as active on thousands of totally invented URLs. It literally costs a fraction of a kilobyte of data to fake this. And because there's no public history and the numbers are just rounded to one significant digit, nobody outside of WordPress.org can actually verify them. Meaning those directory rankings we all rely on, they should be treated as directional at best.
And this brilliantly illustrates why we have that terrifying statistic from the beginning of our explainer, why 70% of sites are on dead PHP. It all comes down to what we call the ownership gap. Site owners log into their WordPress dashboard, they click that friendly little update button, and they feel totally secure. But PHP? That's a server-level runtime. Site owners simply cannot see or change it from their dashboard. It is blindly controlled by their hosting providers. And a lot of hosts just haven't built fleet-wide lifecycle management for PHP. So right now, you have active defacement campaigns targeting these exact sites, exploiting outdated software and default misconfigurations, and the site owners are essentially helpless to fix it on their own. Section 3, safe training with Playground. I know the vulnerabilities and fake metrics might look pretty grim, but the ecosystem is aggressively fighting back. Following WordCamp Europe, developer Elliot Richmond showcased an absolute game-changer. He used WordPress Playground and Blueprints to build a safe, browser-based WebAssembly training sandbox for his clients. Basically, instead of setting up clunky staging servers or risking a live site, Richmond built a trimmed-down 50-megabyte version of a client's real site. The client just clicks a link, and Playground runs a full WordPress instance right there in their browser, configured instantly by a JSON blueprint. The client can edit, explore, and completely break the site, and the whole shebang just safely resets when they close the session. It completely removes that fear of breaking the live hosting environment. Moving on to Section 4,
AI stops a live backdoor. While local training keeps individual clients safe from their own mistakes, autonomous defense is out there aggressively protecting the entire community from highly sophisticated malicious code. The Protect the Shire initiative actually just scored a massive historic win. Back on July 28th, a supply chain backdoor was deliberately planted in the Advanced Responsive Video Embedder plugin. That's a plugin with around 20,000 active installs, by the way. This backdoor was designed to silently authenticate attackers as site administrators. Yikes, right? But less than 2 hours later, Wordfence's autonomous AI agent, Prism, flagged the malicious code. They notified the WordPress.org plugins team at 1543 UTC, and by 1609 UTC, the plugin was completely closed for downloads. That entire sequence took under 3 hours.
And because of this incredibly rapid AI response, combined with the newly implemented release cooldown window that holds new releases before pushing them out, that tampered plugin reached exactly 0 sites. The backdoor was totally neutralized before a single user could be compromised. It definitively proves that this new autonomous defense system absolutely works.
Finally, Section 5. Stay updated with WP More.
Look, with market shares fundamentally shifting, AI completely rewriting the rules of ecosystem security, and legacy tech like old PHP leaving millions exposed, relying on outdated information just isn't an option anymore. Which brings us to the ultimate question for any WordPress professional watching this explainer. How do you keep up with an ecosystem that changes this fast? Between the plugin vulnerabilities, the shifting metrics, and awesome new tools like Playground coming out, it can feel super overwhelming. To truly thrive, you need a reliable filter for all the noise, so you can get right to the reality checks and innovations that actually matter to your bottom line. And that is exactly what WP More gives you. It's an all-in-one curation hub designed specifically for WordPress professionals like us. You get a weekly curated newsletter that rounds up the most critical ecosystem news, just like the stories we've broken down today. Plus, you get a dedicated subreddit to debate and engage with other experts, and daily posts across X, LinkedIn, and Blue Skies, so you literally never miss a beat. It is perfectly designed to keep you sharply informed without wasting your time. The ecosystem isn't slowing down, so do yourself a massive favor and make WPMore.net your daily bookmark. Whether it's dodging those dead PHP engines, understanding the real market share, or leveraging the latest AI defense, WPMore has you covered. So I'll leave you with this. Knowing what you know now about the changing landscape, what steps will you take today to secure your defensible slice of the WordPress market? Head over to WPMore.net right now, join the community, and let's figure it out together.